In this video, I'm going to create a water dispersion effect with the pineapple I used in the video I did on cutting an object, and an image of splashing water. I've done a few videos on dispersion effects before, so check them out in the attached videos at the end of this video. Hopefully I'll remember to attach them. Right now I have 3 tabs open. I have the New Document tab, and I have another tab where I have my pineapple, and I have a third tab where I have the water splash that I'm going to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to take this pineapple and crop it a little bit so that I can get rid of a lot of this extraneous stuff around it. So I'll crop it, hit apply to make sure the crop takes. Now remember that the crop is a non-destructive effect, so the stuff that we cropped off is still back there, you just can't see it. So in order to make it to where I can copy it into my other document and not have that stuff that I tried to crop off, I'm going to have to right click and then go down and do rasterize and trim. And that way that gets rid of that background that I want to do. Now over here, I have this splashing water. I looked at a lot of pictures of splashing waters, and this is the best I could do. So what I'm going to need to do is to first cut out this part, because this is a part I'm going to use. So I'm going to click on the Object Selection tool and then kind of hover over this. And this is going to be challenging because the color of everything in this photo is almost exactly the same. So after the Object Selection tool thinks about it a little bit, we're also going to need to use the Selection Brush tool in order to clean it up a little bit. Okay, see what I mean? It's trying to select almost everything. So basically what I've been doing is I've been just trying to go around and see how much I could. There, okay. So I have this much and I'm going to click on it. So I'm going to select that piece, and you'll see this object selection box comes up and tells you it's selecting it. But we're going to need to cut a lot of this stuff off. So I'm going to go over to the Object Selection tool and click on the little caret and then go to the Selection Brush tool. And that way I can get rid of some of this down here. So I want to make this a little bigger. And then I'm going to press Alt so I can get rid of this down here. And then I want to get rid of, press Alt, and I want to get rid of all this, because all I want is the water at the top. I really don't want the glass or anything like that. So we're just going to select it and see how good we can get. I mean, we can always clean it up once we get done selecting it a little bit. Okay, so now I have a lot of it selected like I want, and I'm going to click on Refine, so we can refine this a little bit further if we need to. Now I want to get some of this back in, so I'm going to click on my bracket and paint over this to see if I can't get this selected like that. So I'm going to select that and that and that and see how much of this I can get in. Actually, what I've already selected is really what I want. So a lot of this other stuff around here isn't really that important. And also I have this. I need to fix that. Okay, so once I get what I want, then I want to go down here to where it says output, because we're going to output it to a mask. And so I'm going to output to mask and apply. And now I have the piece that I want. Now some of it, see how that got in there, some of the water splash, but not a lot of it. So we're probably not going to be, it's not really going to be a factor. Now what I want to do is get rid of this stuff down here. So I'm going to go to crop, and then I'm going to crop this off like that. And then I'm going to apply. And then what I want to do is I want to see, let me see, how much of this I can clean off. This really isn't too bad, but I'm going to select the mask, and then I'm going to go over here to the paintbrush tool and then see if I can't get rid of some of this under here. Make sure I've got the right thing. Oh, I need to have the opacity up. Okay, all these need to be 100%. Okay, so I'm going to do the selection brush tool and try to clean a lot of this extraneous business off of here. And, you know, I think that looks kind of odd. So I'm going to just go ahead and wipe it off. I didn't really get enough of this, the splashing dot stuff for it to matter, but I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Okay, so once I have it cleaned up, I want to take all this right here. Now see, you can see even though we cropped it off that it's still back there. So in order to get rid of that, we're going to have to right click and go down to rasterize and trim that off and see how it all trims down permanently. Okay, so now we have this piece right here, the water. So I'm going to right click on it, and then I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go over here to my, where it says untitled, and then I'm going to paste. So I'm going to paste that there, and I want it to be the other way, so I'm going to go over and go to transform and then go flip vertical, so it'll flip it where I want it, because I want it to be down here and I want the pineapple to be up there. So I'm going to go back up to the pineapple tab and then right click and copy, and then go back here and then right click and paste. And boy, is that a big pineapple. So I want to arrange these to where I have the pineapple here, and then I need to have the water background on top of it. So I'm just going to move the layer up there, and then all I have to do is arrange it to where it's pretty close on like this. Now I want this water to conform to my pineapple. So the way I'm going to do that is with the water layer selected, I'm going to select the mesh warp tool, and then I'm going to pull this in to where it meshes or forms to the conforms to the pineapple. So do that and then pull that out a little bit until it is, there's a little bit of pineapple I don't want to see there. So you can just use the little handles to where you can get something. And if you want to pull this down, all you would have to do is to make another little handle, and then this will be pulled down a little because it's just going to warp down. And then we can have it looking like that. Okay, so once it's like that, well, let me see. I want that to be like that. Okay, so once that's meshed to the pineapple, we need to get rid of this piece down here. So I'm going to click on my pineapple, and I'm going to add a mask layer because that's what we're going to paint on. So I'm going to have this mask layer selected, and then select a brush and make sure I have the right one. Yeah, the white should be showing through, so we know that you have these black circles and white circles in the right order. So just go down here, and we want to be getting rid of this. So we'll just paint over that so we can get rid of that. And now we've gotten rid of our pineapple. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to mesh this piece. Whoops, well, maybe I'll just get rid of that for now. we want to take this and blend it a little bit with our pineapple. So the way I'm going to get this done is I'm going to select the water, and then I'm going to get a mask layer like that. And then what I'm going to do is on top of the mask layer, I'm going to select a brush, my paintbrush, and then go over to brushes and make sure that I have this round brush. Well, one of the round brushes selected. It doesn't really matter. So since this is already selected, we'll just do number 16 round brush. And then I don't want it to, notice how it's going to brush that away. I don't want it to do that. I want it to kind of fade away. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to turn this down to 40%. This, if you're wondering what it is, it's the opacity. So then we'll go over here and it'll look more faded. And then I'm going to go over here to where the hardness is, and I'm also going to turn this down to 40, like that. So then I can go down here, and I think I might make this a little bit smaller. I can just kind of paint over it so that it looks like it's blended in with the pineapple. So then once it does that, then we have it all blended in to where it looks like we don't have any of those hard edges anymore like that. Okay, now what I want is well, I'll go back to the pointer. I want this piece right here, this water, to be the same color as that. Now we can't just paint over that. It is not going to work that way. So we're going to have to go back to layers, and I'm going to need to select my water layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an adjustment layer on this. So I'm going to go down here to where it says adjustments. And with that selected, we're going to have to move it, but it doesn't matter right now. I'm going to click an adjustment layer, and I'm going to go up here to where it says recolor, and I'm going to click on it. Now it all turns red. The reason it all turns red because my adjustment layer sat itself on top of everything, and I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to move it down until it's nested inside my water layer. Then all we have to do is to readjust the color. Now to do that, of course we need to make sure it's selected, or it's not going to do anything. So I've got my recolor adjustment selected. It needs to be open. Right now this is red, but I'm going to change it to where it's pretty much almost, sometimes I've been able to get away with doing it like this. Sometimes I had to use the dropper and then go and sample, but this actually doesn't look that bad, and this is about the color that I wanted for this. So you can adjust the color right there until it looks like that this water splash is just splashing off of your pineapple. And so then you've pretty much got what you need for your pineapple. And once you have your color the way you want it, then all you have to do is to close it. Okay, so I'm going to close all my layers and make sure I've got this layer and this layer because it's less confusing, because I'm going to put another layer in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the rectangle tool, and I'm going to put a rectangle on here. And obviously I don't want my rectangle on the top, it's right here, so I'm going to just move it on down until it's on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is to go over here to the fill tool. It used to be called the gradient tool in the last release of this. I still call it the gradient tool because I think it makes more sense. And then I'm going to go up and select elliptical. So I've got an elliptical gradient, but I don't want it to be this color. What I want is for it to be a color that is similar to that pineapple. So I'm going to click on color and see what we have here. Right now we've got this piece selected, and I'm going to go ahead and select this color. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is we're just going to have to use the sliders. Okay, I'm going to select that color, and then maybe over here, I'm going to select maybe a darker color than that. So I forgot what I selected before. I will select, that looks the same, that color. Okay, so I'll select that color, and then all I'll need to do is, in order to change the shade, I'll just go from swatches to HSL sliders, and then see if we can't make this, just adjust the colors and see what we get here. I actually like it to where it's a little bit lighter. Okay, I don't like that. A little bit lighter like that. So it looks lighter in there, and then let's go over here and punch that. And then we can maybe change that so it's a little bit like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. And so then another thing I can do is, if you take a look at the water right here, we can also do a blend mode on it. So let's go back to recolor adjustment. So I'm opening back up recolor, and then I'm going to go down here to blend mode. And I changed my mind whether to use a blend mode on it or not, but I want to show you how I did this. So we can go up here, there's darken. That looks okay. That just looks like we have bad pineapple juice. Color burn, linear burn, darker color, lighten, and screen. There's screen, color dodge, add, lighter color actually looks pretty good. I was going back and forth between lighter color and overlay. So there's lighter color right there, and there's overlay right there. I think I'm going to stick with lighter color, and then click on that, and then close that, and then I'm going to do that and see if I can't move this in a little bit so we can make all of our little bitty adjustments right now. Okay, so there we are. There's my water dispersion effect on a pineapple. Experiment with this effect. It's really kind of interesting. Choose some other objects. To be perfectly honest, I've only seen it on apples and strawberries, and that was in Photoshop. So I looked at some Photoshop things to see how they did it. Since Photoshop is a little bit different, I had to change a few things around by doing it this way. The recolor was one of them, and there were some few minor things. So give this a try. Pick another fruit or any other object, and remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date on my videos. Buy me a coffee to help support my channel, and check out my merch on Redbubble and TeePublic.